Hello, Uganda. This is your doctor Mwanguzi Shadrack from Health Touch Uganda. I'm excited about this day where we are going to be launching something very important for the whole of this month. I want to start by congratulating every one of you that is watching me upon crossing into the new year, the year 2020. I know 2021 came with a lot of challenges, but we thank God for we were able to cross into the new year. Well, I want to say sorry to those that lost their beloved ones. I know it was such and still is a hard time living without those people, but everything comes for a reason, and we ought to give thanks to the Lord for everything that comes. So I want to welcome you for today's session. I am believing that every one of us is actually going to learn something, in as much as we've called this one a launch of the Diabetes Awareness Month at Health Touch Uganda. I believe most of the things I'm going to be talking about are actually going to be very important. So every one of us has a responsibility of sharing this video, inviting friends, inviting relatives, inviting neighbors to come and get to learn some of these things. I know a number of us have actually heard about diabetes, and probably at the neighborhood, maybe we have family members that have diabetes. Maybe we've heard it over the radio, over the TV, you've read an article. Somehow, maybe you've been to hospital and someone has been told they have diabetes. And maybe yourself, you've actually been told you have diabetes. Some of you have lived with diabetes for quite a long time, and some of you have recently been diagnosed with diabetes. But this kind of message we are going to be sharing is meant to equip everyone in the society. Those that have it, those that don't have it, those that think they cannot have it. Well, there is something you all need to learn, and I'm happy to be bringing us this message. It is coming straight from Health Touch Uganda. Remember, Health Touch Uganda is a group of committed health workers and members of the citizens that like to see the health well-being of our society improve from one level to another. And we do this through health education, teaching you about health living, for we know a number of illnesses that can be prevented merely by knowing about them, knowing about what causes them, knowing about how to prevent them. Just that, you can actually save a great deal of resources. We also offer medical consultation. We believe there is a time when you may not be able to access health facilities, or even in the process of accessing health facilities, there is something medical you may need to do as you transport someone to hospital. Maybe it's late in the night, like anything can happen. And we have consultants ready to respond to medical inquiries online, over phone calls. So I would just invite every one of us to like our social media platforms, to follow those that we can follow, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our Twitter, our Instagram. You can join any of our WhatsApp groups and get in direct contact with our consultants. So for those of you that may actually want to join our WhatsApp groups, you can send a message to 0753 924896 and request for a link that will lead you to one of the groups. There are quite a number of groups, but you will be sent a link to one of the groups, so you can gain direct access. But all that aside, today we are giving a preamble about what we've called the Diabetes Awareness Month, and that's the month of January. The month of December, which we've just left, 2021, we talked about hypertension, also called high blood pressure, and we try to exhaust it in simple language, adequately detailed, but really easy to understand for everyone. And if you missed out on this, I want to encourage you to look up those videos, to look up the flyers, to look up the articles, to look up the different forms of messages we released out there still on our social media platforms. Go check out our YouTube channel. All those videos are there. It's a set of videos. We actually put them in our playlist. I believe if you gave attention to all those videos, you will learn a great deal of things you may never get to learn elsewhere. I believe people teach about these things, and probably you've been taught about these things, but you may want to listen and watch our teachings and see if there is quite a slight difference, which may actually also help in your health well-being. So if you're out there and you missed out on our hypertension awareness week or high blood pressure awareness month, it was actually the whole month, please go out and look for that information. But this month, the month of January, we are choosing to spread awareness, nationwide awareness, over something that's very common in our settings, and that's called diabetes mellitus, an illness associated with high blood sugar levels, high glucose levels, simply called sukari in some of the local settings here in Uganda. People just say, I have sukari, bangambe nina sukari. So today we want to go through some of those things. We shall be talking about what exactly diabetes is, diabetes mellitus. What exactly does it mean when I tell you you have diabetes mellitus? What exactly causes it? Are there any forms? Are there different types of diabetes mellitus? What causes it? What puts one at risk of getting it? What are some of the things that you feel in your body if you have diabetes mellitus? What are some of the things that you are supposed to do just in case you think you have it? If they tell you have it, what are some of the things that you're supposed to do to prevent the severe complications? Yes, we shall also talk about the complications, the damages, the different things you are likely to get, very tough things you are likely to get, just in case you have diabetes and you don't do anything about it. There are those devastating things that can happen to you as a result of having diabetes and not doing anything about it. So I'll be interchanging the words diabetes mellitus, or simply call it diabetes, or put it as sukari, or high glucose levels, or high sugar levels, and I hope you will be able to keep up with those terminologies because I'm actually meaning the same thing. Yeah. So what do we mean when we say someone has diabetes? What are we going excuse me, what are we going to be talking about for the whole of this month, and why diabetes? Before I go into what it means, I want to answer the question of why diabetes, of all things, even in the face of the pandemic COVID-19. How do we leave it aside and talk about an illness like diabetes? Diabetes is something that's very common, number one. Number two, it is something that is very dangerous. It is something that puts you at risk of getting other illnesses. It is something that makes you weaker to the point that you can easily get other things, or when other things attack you, they can treat you really badly just because you had diabetes. You've had, even throughout this season of the pandemic, people saying that people with other illnesses like diabetes are at a higher risk of severe forms of COVID. Why? Because it is dangerous in its own. Diabetes mellitus is one of the most dangerous illnesses that you can ever have. Well, you've heard about dangerous illnesses, you've heard about HIV, you've heard about cancer, you've heard about Ebola. Diabetes also has its own ranking among the top serious illnesses that have devastated mankind for generations. Worldwide, by the year 2019, it was estimated that 442 million people were living with diabetes. That's quite a big number. And most of these people, the majority of these 442 million people, are found in low and middle income countries. Yes, low and middle income countries, majority of them. And still, by the year in the year 2019, it was established that 1.5 million people died worldwide as a result of diabetes, mellitus, and its related or associated complications. That's quite a big number. 1.5 million people to die of a certain illness worldwide. That's quite a big number. And 48% of all the people that died from diabetes and its related complications were under the age of 70. So you can see how people die prematurely just because of diabetes. When you come down here to our settings in Uganda, if you counted 100 people, 10 of them will be having diabetes. That's quite a big number. Yeah. If you went to the market and collected 100 people and started asking one by one or tested one by one to find out if their blood sugars were actually elevated, you'd find 10 of them with elevated blood sugar levels or with diabetes mellitus. But it's actually so unfortunate that majority of the people that live with diabetes, especially in our settings, don't actually know that they have it. For example, a research was done and it was established that here in Uganda, 68% of the people that live with diabetes don't actually know that they have it. You go out and test people's blood sugar levels. You isolate those that you find with an elevated blood sugar level and then collect 100 of them. From those 100 who have high blood sugar levels, you will find 68 of them when they are not aware, they didn't know anything about high blood sugar, they didn't know they had a high blood sugar. And that's quite dangerous. Why? Because for some of these illnesses, the first step in fighting them, the first step in managing them, the first step in trying to live a normal life like before is knowing that you have that illness. If you have it and you don't get to know that you have it, that's a problem because you will not do anything about it. And once you don't do anything about it, you are not going to prevent the severe complications that come as a result of that disease. And for most of them, the time we get to find out that you have it, probably a lot has been destroyed in your body. Little can be done to save your life or to save you from severe complications, and little can be done to extend your life. Why? Because some damage for most of these illnesses like diabetes, like hypertension, the damages are slow, little by little, but they are progressive in nature. By the time you get to find out that you have diabetes, it has probably affected your blood vessels, it has affected your kidneys, it has affected your heart, it has affected your brain, it has affected your nerves, it has affected important structures in your body. And when you try to go to hospital, you are going to spend a lot of money in treating some of these complications. And yet, if you got to find out early, quite early, you would spend something little but prevent really severe complications. And that's why it's very important for every one of us to be equipped with this knowledge. We want to emphasize the aspects of preventive medicine, the aspect through health education, because when we do that, we save a lot of resources. When you prevent an illness, you save a lot of time, you save a lot of resources, you save a lot. This enhances your productivity because you cannot be as productive as you used to be when you were strong, when you were healthy, as in the times when you are sick, when you're in and out of hospital, when you're spending most of your finances on clearing hospital bills. So that's why we are coming out to speak about high sugar levels, diabetes mellitus, also called high glucose level. Now, what does it mean when I tell you have a high sugar level? There are a number of illnesses. It's like a set of diseases which we categorize under a broad term, diabetes mellitus. But the one thing that all these illnesses have in common is they cause your blood sugar levels to go high. They make you have high glucose levels. I'm going to be interchanging the word sugars and glucose. I'll be meaning the same thing. It's a misconception when we tell you that you have a high glucose level, you have a high sugar level, or you have sukari, you have diabetes, your sugar levels are high. Some people think about the sugar that we put in tea. Be like, there are even people who get surprised and they go like, Musawo, I am a poor man. I don't take sugar. I only take it occasionally. I only get to take sugar once in a while. I can spend a whole month without taking sugar, without taking tea. How do you say I have sukari? I have high sugar levels. It's a misconception. We don't simply mean the sugar that you put in tea, in as much as that sugar that you put in tea has the component which we are now calling sugar. Sugar or glucose is a substance that the body needs to produce energy. Yep. When you move from one point to another, when you carry a jerrycan of water, when you sit and think, when you start working out, when you start physical exercises, your body spends energy. For the body to produce that energy, it needs that substance, which is like fuel. For a car to move from one place to another, it needs fuel. Look at your body like a car that needs fuel to move from one place to another. Now, for the car, it may only be moving from one place to another, but your body does activities that are equivalent to the cars moving from one place to another. That is seeing, hearing, talking, eating, moving, laughing. All the activities that you do require energy or require fuel. And that fuel is in form of the things that we eat, the food substances that we eat. Now, the most common fuel used by the body, the fuel that is usually readily available to be used by the body to produce the energy the body needs to do different activities, is in form of glucose, which we also call sugar, or the sugars. That's why when you don't eat for a long period of time, you may feel weak. You may not be able to do the things that you are supposed to be doing. You feel weak, you feel lazy, you feel exhausted. You easily feel exhausted. Why? Because you don't have the fuel that is supposed to help you produce the energy to accomplish those tasks. So everyone needs the sugars. Of course, there are other forms of substances like the fats, like the proteins, where the body can derive energy from. But the commonest source, the source that is usually readily available, is glucose. So when you eat cassava, the body can get glucose from there. Eat sweet potatoes, you eat rice, you eat yams, all those foods which have the starch, which have, yes, the starch eventually converted into the glucose that the body needs. So when you eat, that food is broken down into smaller particles that eventually form the glucose. And this glucose is taken from the intestines where the food went into the blood. When that glucose enters the blood, it saturates with the flowing blood, or it flows with the blood to the different parts of your body that now pick it up from the blood and take it up to either use it to produce the energy or to store it for future use, for future energy production. Those are the two things that happen. The glucose is either utilized by the body to produce energy there and then, or it is stored into, or it's put into the stores that can later be retrieved and then used to produce the energy, especially at a time when you've not eaten on time. So that's what happens. Now, for the glucose, for us to say that you have diabetes, the amount of the glucose in your blood should exceed a certain level. Under normal circumstances, your body regulates or controls the amount of glucose that stays in blood. When you have just eaten a starchy meal, for example, cassava, the glucose in your blood tends to go up. But your body puts it in check. It has ways of ensuring it doesn't over exceed the normal limit, upper limit. So through those processes, the excess glucose in the blood is picked out. It enters the body, the different body parts. I will call them cells, the cells of your body for storage or for utilization. This especially happens in your liver and in your muscles. That's where most of the glucose is either used or stored. I want you to look at your body as a construction site that is fenced and has only one gate. And now you have trucks that ferry raw materials, sand, bricks, gravel, to the construction site from wherever. But all of them are meant to pass through a certain gate. Now, when you don't have enough trucks, let me say, if you don't have trucks, the raw materials are not going to be able to cross into the construction site. They are going to stay outside the construction site. And that's a problem. Another situation, you may actually have the trucks that are able to ferry the raw materials, but the gate through which they are supposed to pass is closed. That's also a problem. Either way, you're not going to have the raw materials come to the construction site to do what they are supposed to do, and you are going to have them accumulate outside the construction site. It's problematic. Either way, it remains problematic. It's the same thing. The trucks are the insulin. We have a hormone produced by the pancreas. The pancreas is like In the local language here, it's commonly called a nuni. It produces that hormone called insulin that acts like the lorries I told you about in the construction site scenario. The raw materials are the glucose that is supposed to be taken up by the body for either storage or utilization. Then we have special channels in the different parts of the body where that glucose passes to enter the different body parts. I'll repeat that. Remember, I told you about I gave you a scenario about the construction site where you have raw materials outside that are supposed to be carried by the trucks, the lorries, through that gate. The construction site is fenced. So through that gate into the construction site for either temporary storage or immediate utilization during the construction work. It's the same thing. When you eat, your body needs the glucose to make the energy that you need so you can do the different activities. That glucose is like the raw materials that is supposed to be carried into the different parts of your body. But the lorry that carries that is what we call insulin, the hormone produced by still your part of your body, a part of your body called the pancreas, found here in the tummy. Now, that insulin acts as the lorry that ferries the glucose into the body, into the cells of your body. But there are channels where it is supposed to pass, which I called the gate. Now, if your body is not able to produce enough insulin, if it is not able to produce those lorries that are supposed to carry the glucose or the raw materials, it is going to be a problem. Most of the glucose is going to accumulate in blood. It cannot leave the blood to enter the different parts of your body. Why? Because you are not able to produce enough insulin. Yep. That is scenario number one. Like we said, you don't have lorries, so the raw materials will not enter. They are going to remain outside. Number two, you may have enough insulin, but the gates through which the glucose is supposed to pass as it is being carried by the as it is being facilitated to move by the insulin may not be there, or may be defiant, may be resistant. For them, they may say, no, for us, we are not going to let anyone enter. They can be stubborn. There are reasons as to why they become stubborn, like I'll be telling you. Those are the things that make one person at risk of getting diabetes and not the other. For example, the people who are overweight. When you're overweight, it makes those channels or those gates stubborn. And they say, no, well, the glucose is out there. We are seeing it. The insulin is there. We are seeing it. But we shall not open. No one is going to cross here. And that becomes a problem. Your glucose will not cross. It will remain in blood and it will accumulate. The moment the glucose accumulates in your blood beyond normal for a long period of time, it becomes a problem. It puts you in danger. It puts you at risk of getting many complications. So that's how people get diabetes. Oh, that's what we mean when we say someone has diabetes. They are either not able to take up the glucose. Why? Because they don't have enough insulin. Their pancreas is not able to produce enough insulin. Maybe it has been destroyed, like in most of the cases. Or the body itself is resistant. The channels or the gates through which the glucose is meant to pass to access the facilities where it is either utilized or stored are resistant. You're saying no, no one is entering. Your sugar levels go high. It is not in any way related to you taking sugar in tea. You may be someone that doesn't actually take sugar in tea. Be like Nzenywa chai mukalu. I'll actually tell you that the prevalence or the number of people living with diabetes here in Uganda are more found in the villages, in the rural areas, as opposed to the people living in urban areas. I told you that overall, out of 100 people here in Uganda, you will find 10 of them that have diabetes mellitus. But most of these 10 are in actually villages. Here in town, you may find a slightly smaller number, about 7 of them. So, but the overall is 10. But 10 towards the 10, more in the villages. When you go to the urban places, where people actually have some money, they are able to take sugar in tea, it's about 7. Why? It's not directly related to that. In as far as taking a lot of sugars will affect you if you have that illness where you're not able to control the sugars in your blood. And now you have to be more cautious. And that's the thing. So, that is it. So, we are going to be telling you throughout this month what exactly goes wrong. What makes some people not being in position to produce enough insulin? What happens to the pancreas? Enoni. What happens to the body cells, those gates that now they become resistant? What makes the insulin, what makes the pancreas get problems? What makes those cells misbehave, become defiant, become resistant to the insulin that they cannot let in the glucose? What exactly happens that puts you in danger? Because once you get to know that, you will now be in position to prevent. For those that already have it, once you get to know where the problem is, you will now understand why it is important for you to take the medication that we tell you to take. For most of the people that have the first type of diabetes, where the pancreas is not able to produce enough insulin, you find the kind of medication we give you will involve a supplement of insulin. We give you insulin, which you inject yourself every day. For the others who may have the type 2, where the insulin is there, but the cells are not taking up the glucose because they are resistant, the channels are closed, the gates are closed. For you, we may start you on medication, just tablets. Especially in the initial stages, just tablets may be good enough to help you. We shall help, and that's how we help you understand why for you were started on insulin direct, while other people were started on tablets. And there are categories where they actually have to use both of them, injectable insulin and the tablets that are just swallowed. Those are things that you're going to be understanding throughout this month. And that's why I encourage you to like our Facebook page, follow the Facebook page, because we are going to be uploading this information. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we are going to be uploading this information for free of charge. You only need to put data, or you only need to access Wi-Fi, download these videos, watch these videos, note down a few things, and equip yourself. In a setting like this, where the health system is not going to favor you 100%, when you fall sick, you are not going to have the very best that you would get under normal circumstances. You ought to be proactive and prevent illnesses. Majority of the people in the community are not able to sustain themselves in modern hospitals where they may receive the appropriate attention to the complications of these illnesses we'll be talking about. And the way you are supposed to serve yourself is getting the knowledge and practicing what the information says. Oh, yes. Yes. But and some people think these are illnesses for only the elderly. Ndwadde z'abakadde ebyo, sukali, pressure, biki, ndwadde z'abakadde. And the young men, the young people don't want to pay attention. But I want to tell you that actually these two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2, the first type, which is also insulin dependent, where someone doesn't have enough insulin, and when you give them insulin, they'll be okay, is more common in the young people. It also used to be called the young onset or the juvenile type, the juvenile diabetes mellitus. Although even adults can actually get it, but it is more common in the young people. The second type, or type 2, is more in the elderly, though also called the old onset, mature onset, or the old kind of diabetes mellitus. Though now these days it is even becoming more common in the young people, because those you find a child of 7 years with a weight equivalent to that of a 30-year-old. Umwana munene what? That puts them in danger. It puts them at risk. The kind of things they eat, the kind of lifestyle they live puts them at risk of getting diabetes. So that's why we can have the old form of diabetes mellitus occurring even in a younger person. Yeah. And we are going to understand all those things throughout this month, the month of January. I am persuaded that by the end of this month, to a person that has paid attention to our teachings, you are going to be knowledgeable, you are going to be able to prevent, and for those that have it, you're going to be able to control the sugar levels. And once you're able to control the sugar levels, trust me, you will live on like any other normal person. Yeah. We shall go into the things you feel in your body. For example, you find someone frequently gets thirst. They can drink a whole 5-liter jerrycan in a day, and they even feel it's not enough. They wake up over 5 times in the middle of the night to drink water. That's not normal. You cannot wake up 5 times in the middle of the night just to drink water, unless if there is a cause. And for most of the people, it is diabetes. If you find someone that doesn't know they have diabetes, they'll be like, that is if they happen to come to hospital for their glucose levels to be, to seek medical attention. All the time, they are thirsty. All the time they want to go and urinate, to pee, to urinate, pass urine, to susu. If you're a kind of person that frequently gets thirsty, that frequently goes out to urinate, every time, every after 30 minutes, 1 hour, you want to go and urinate. You can't travel long distances. You even fear traveling for long distances. Why? Because you're afraid you will have to keep making someone stop so you can urinate. You're someone that frequently gets hungry. You eat. Every after an hour you want to eat. Every after an hour you want to eat. You feel hungry frequently. That is not normal. Most of the times it's diabetes. You get blood vision all of a sudden. That might be one of the signs that you have diabetes. You feel things that prick you in the feet. Or or you feel a bit numb in the extremities, in the feet or in the hands. Emikono n'amagulu. Engalo n'ebigere. You feel numbness. Feel pinpricks. Those might be signs. Those might be features or symptoms that you actually have diabetes. There are many other things, as we shall be emphasizing. But today I want to say, if you frequently get thirst, frequently goes to urinate, frequently feels hungry and you eat all the time, you feel pricks in your feet or feel numbness, blood vision, it might be diabetes. You have to do something about it. You have to go. And if someone ever tells you that you have diabetes, but they have not checked for it, they have not taken off a blood sample and tested it, you are in wrong hands. I want to put it like that. If someone ever gives you any form of treatment, be it in form of drinkable remedies, packed in bottles, packed in jerry cans, they might even be tablets, they might be other forms of medication, whatever it is. Even if it's a prayer, if someone ever tells you that you have diabetes and they give you a form of medical or intervention, but when they have not tested for your blood sugar, they've not taken off blood to test the sugar levels, and they cannot even tell you that your sugars are in this range or this figure of this value, run for your life. They are lying, they are conmen, they are cheating, they are deceiving. People do those things for one reason or another, maybe to get money, who knows. But for you as an individual who wants to see yourself live on longer, run for your life. When someone tells you you have diabetes, they should be able to tell you that your sugar levels are this amount. Maybe 15. Tell you we've checked your sugar levels and we found it at 15. Hey, tell you it's 15. And they tell you, a normal person, when we test your sugar levels, and it was in the morning before you ate something, it is supposed to be 6.9 and below. The moment it goes to 7, 7.1, 7.5, 10, 10, what, 20, 30, 50, 60, 100, undetectable, it is high. Or if we check it and you've had a meal maybe in about 2 hours time, or you don't even remember, but we check for it and we find it at 11.1 and above, we get concerned. Be like, something is wrong. We take it another day, we confirm it with other tests, tell you that you have diabetes. But if someone doesn't do it, they don't test for your blood sugar levels, or they tell you they've tested but they cannot even tell you a figure, run for your life. This is your life. This is your life. You have to take responsibility of your life. And when you are told you have diabetes, they may tell you that you are at risk. According to these sugar levels you have, we cannot confirm that it is diabetes, but you are at risk. Heed to the instructions thereafter. They will give you instructions on how you can prevent the other full-blown high blood sugar level or diabetes. Yeah. It can come with severe complications, really severe complications. Death being one of them. For most of the young people that get diabetes, the type 1 which I talked about, most of them come to find out that they have diabetes when they've been brought to hospital unconscious with one of the most emergent complications called diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA, where because of the high sugar levels, your body loses a lot of water, it starts forming acids, so your blood becomes acidic, you are dehydrated, you lose consciousness, you come sometimes when your kidneys are getting affected, your brain is getting affected, you are at the verge and majority of them die in our settings. One day, in our district hospital in eastern Uganda, I happened to interact with a patient. I was there doing hospital work. A family comes in and they are carrying this young boy about 15 years. They said before he collapsed, before he became unconscious, he requested to take a lot of water, like he felt a lot of thirst. He was sweating and he urinated on himself. So he was over urinating. Even when he fainted, he continued to urinate involuntarily. So they brought him in. I received them. He was breathing in a certain pattern. There is a pattern in which those people tend to breathe. He was air hungry. But the smell from his breath was also characteristic of a condition I knew associated with high sugar levels in young men that come to hospital in such a state. So I highly suspected, they didn't know that the boy had diabetes, but I highly suspected that this boy would be having diabetes mellitus. So very fast we took off a blood sample, we passed a urinary catheter, akapira, akomusulo. We took off a urine sample, went and tested for some of the things we used to confirm. We confirmed that the boy was in diabetic ketoacidosis, that condition where your blood is acidic, your body is dehydrated, your kidneys are at near damage. We confirmed that they had the condition. So I explained to the dad, told him, your boy has this and this, but we are going to try our best and resuscitate him, bring him back to normal. I told him it is going to take some bit of time. It may take us about 9 hours before he wakes up fully, but it's okay. We know what we are doing. We are going to take him step by step. You just have to be a little patient. And he said, thank you so much. I can't wait. May God bless you so much. Men appreciated that. I brought down the treatment plan. I communicated to the team I was working with, and we started the boy on the appropriate treatment. About 30 minutes into our treatment plan, another group of caretakers, another group of relatives to the boy came around. Among them was the auntie to the boy, who happened to be the brother to the dad. Now, she brought a message. She told them the boy was suffering from an illness caused by bones that were sent into him by someone else, a neighbor. That is a form of witchcraft. It's a form of witchcraft used in that part of the country where they say someone has been bewitched. Actually, they say someone has been sent into bones. Bones have been sent into someone, and they are the ones afflicting him or causing the illness that the patient had. So she said the uncle of the boy, who was at home, had sent for the boy to remove those bones. Yeah, to remove those bones, and they had come for the boy. How do I get to know all this? I see the daddy, the boy's dad, trying to disconnect our fluids, our treatment, and trying to carry the patient, the boy, off the hospital bed. So I intervene. I'm like, yo, what's up? What's going on? Where are you taking the patient? So he tells me all that. I was very furious. I felt so angry. I felt like, huh? I had to keep calm. Though even in my keeping calm, I really backed at him. I told him, put the boy down. Oh, he put the boy down. I called him aside. I told him, why would you do such a thing? And he told me he told me, yeah, it's okay. Let's take the boy back home. They remove these bonds. We shall bring him back. Oh, I told him, no one. Let's do this. Because now for us, we've already started our treatment, which we really wouldn't want to discontinue. And we don't want to disagree. We don't want to say it's not the bonds causing the boy's illness. But let us invite the boy's uncle to come to hospital. We shall give you privacy. We shall put you in a room, give you the privacy that you need for the uncle to perform the functions there and remove the bonds, but let our treatment continue. He bought the idea. So they sent for the boy's uncle. We allowed them the privacy to do whatever they did to remove the bonds that were causing the illness, and our treatment also continued. I got involved into other things in the time they were doing those other things, so I didn't actually get to see the bonds, but I hear they were removed. I didn't see them, but I don't want to discuss that. But what I know, our treatment continued. Within 8 hours, the boy had started waking up. Within about 10 hours, he was able to sit up by himself. He was able to understand instructions, and he was able to take some water, to take some tea, and eat something small. The sugars had come down. We had rehydrated him. So we kept him in hospital, monitoring and further treatment, doing more tests. And within 3 days, the boy was okay. The boy was okay. We discharged him from the hospital, connected him to an organization that helps out people living with diabetes, who are now taking good care of him. They are following him up, supplying him with all the things he needs, the glucose monitors, the strips, the insulin, and other things. And he is now a healthy boy. He lives on normally. One of the things I told the dad when he wanted to take this boy out of hospital, I told him, well, I don't want to disagree with what your sister has said about the cause of the boy's illness, but I know what I am dealing with. I have the experience about this condition. I want to tell you, this boy may not live long enough to see the next day if you take him out of hospital today. If you let us discontinue the treatment plan we've been on, this boy is not going to live long enough to see the next day. It touched him, and he gave in, he yielded, and he left the boy in hospital. Then we invited the uncle who did his things. Now the boy is okay. The boy is alive. So those are some of the misconceptions that many of our people have. You find someone with the symptoms, typical symptoms of someone that someone that has high blood sugar levels, but they have a number of things which have been fed in their mind, spending a lot of money in useless things, in witchcraft. Someone is bewitching them. Well, if someone bewitched you to get and you got high sugar levels, let's try to control them. Let's try and see if something will happen. Well, anything can go wrong. Murphy's law says whatever will go wrong will go wrong. And what will go wrong usually goes wrong at a time when it causes the most severe damages. But I want to go into that. But I want to say, you need to get the right information. You need to get the appropriate care. High sugar levels can affect the nerves. Nerves bubanga obusimu obutwala amasanyalaze mu mubiri, and that's how people become numb. Ngosanyalala ebigere. Those nerves are very important. They help you feel pain, so that when you touch an object that is hot, you will sense that it is hot because of the pain that you will feel, and you will let go. But if you're not able to know that whatever I am touching is hot, because the nerves that are meant to make you feel pain have been damaged, that hot object is going to cause severe damage. The reason why pain is very important, you are able to know, because the things which cause pain usually cause more damage than the pain itself. Pain is like your body tries to tell you that, danger. You step on a nail and you jump before it goes very far. Why? Because your nerves are working. But now if your nerves are not working, they've been damaged by this condition that causes a high sugar level in your blood, you will get those damages and you will not be able to know. And that's how some people come with very bad feet. There is what we call a diabetic foot. Someone has a very bad wound on their foot that occasionally necessitates amputation or cutting off of the entire foot, cutting off the entire leg. Why? Because the nerves that were responsible for making them feel pain were damaged. So they got wounded, but they didn't know. And when your nerves are damaged, even the wound healing, the process of wound healing is affected. This diabetes or the high sugar levels can affect your blood vessels. And when your blood vessels are affected, their ability to carry blood to that part of the body will be affected. And remember, blood carries the things that help in the healing. So when you get a small wound, because that part of the body has a poor blood supply as a result of the destroyed blood vessels by the high sugar levels, by this condition called diabetes, the wound healing around there will be very poor. And before you know, a wound that was very small is eating up almost the entire foot, is eating up the entire leg, until when we cut it off. We cut off this leg, the other leg also gets a wound. And this is why it's actually very serious. This is why it's very important for everyone to pay extra attention when it comes to these things. You can be a victim. Don't you ever think that the people that have these illnesses are unlucky, and for you, you are lucky. Today you might be okay, but tomorrow you might have one of them. This is why it's very important for you to learn about these things. At Health Touch Uganda, free of charge. We are not going to charge you a coin. All we are saying is, please find this information and make good use of it. If you can spend a lot of time on social media following useless things, why not spare an hour? Why not spare 30 minutes? Why not spare 10 minutes? Because some of our videos are actually very short. You might find the information that you need to prevent diabetes or to control your blood sugar levels is compressed in 5 minutes. And if you pay attention to these 5 minutes, you're actually going to learn something that is going to save you the whole of your life. Just 5 minutes like this. Yeah. And that's why we say, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. so that every time we upload a new video, you get alerted. Like and follow the Facebook page, so that every time we upload something new, we post something new, it shows up among the first things you see when you open your Facebook. The Twitter, same thing with Twitter, Instagram. You can join any of our WhatsApp groups by sending a message to 0753 924896. Don't greet, don't say anything, just request for the link. Hi, help me with the, oh, add me to Health Touch Uganda WhatsApp group. Just that. A link will be sent to you, tap it. When you reach there, don't go into other businesses. They'll remove you from the group. When you enter the group and start posting funny things, whoosh, out. Because we want to think that everyone that gets to join, they have joined to learn about health-related things, to have access to medical consultants, so they can actually have a timely medical consultations. Yeah. That is it. You can become blind just because of diabetes. Someone that used to see normally, someone that used to see clearly, you can become blind. You can get stroke, where blood vessels in your brain get blocked. Remember I told you diabetes can affect blood vessels. They get affected, they get blocked, and a part of your brain will not be receiving enough blood. And when that happens, guess what? It starts to die off. Remember, your brain controls activities of the different parts of your body. You are able to see because there is a certain part of your brain that interprets the things that you see, and you get to know that, oh, this is a jerrycan, this is a drum, this is a boy, this is a girl. You're able to move your hand because there is a part of your brain that is controlling that part of the body, and it is still functional. But once you get stroke, that part of the brain affected will cause this other part of the body it was controlling not to function. Those are people you find when one part of their body is paralyzed. They cannot move it. Paralyzed. Or paralysis. Yes. Fine. They cannot walk. They cannot stand on their two legs. They cannot see. They cannot feel. They're unconscious. They don't know what's going on. They're in coma. They are convulsing, seizing. They're having fits or seizures, basically. They've got a stroke. They can get a heart attack because the blood vessels of the heart have been affected, blocked suddenly. You get a heart attack, very severe pain that if you're not attended to, in the next few minutes, you die. Your body can become weak when you have a long-standing history of uncontrolled blood sugar levels. It makes your body weak that it cannot fight off infections. We call it being immunosuppressed or immunocompromised. And that's why in the first of the pandemic, we've been saying people who have diabetes can actually get the severe form of COVID because their body is already weak. Their immunity is down because of diabetes mellitus. So the whole of this month, we want to create nationwide awareness concerning diabetes mellitus. You can also participate in this campaign. We are doing out of the love for our people, out of the love for our country, out of the pain we feel when we see people suffering in hospital, when we see people suffering because they don't have money. That's the first thing. They don't have money. Even those that have money spend it and become bankrupt. You see someone that used to be big, the person that used to be, that looked healthy, they're all very tiny like this. But why? They've had a long-standing history of uncontrolled blood sugar levels. If you don't have it, there's something you can do to prevent getting it. If you have it, there's something you can do to keep it under control, to have it regulated. So do that. Those of you that can participate in this campaign, please do. Spread the message. It's just a matter of tapping the share button, and you share with a friend, you share with a group, you share with another category of people. Recommend. If you're someone in charge of an organization, a group of people, and you'd want us to come and talk to them about diabetes, it can be a health facility, it might be any other random kind of facility or organization, it might be a company, but you have an organization of some people, you are in charge of some people. 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, any number. We can make arrangements and we come and deliver this education message about diabetes this month, the month of January. You are in charge of a school. You are in charge of a village. We can arrange and talk to those old people. Landing site, in the villages, in the town, wherever you are, we can actually reach you. If you have access to airtime, we can deliver health education messages on those talk shows. Yeah. We want to see the health well-being of our people improve from one level to another. What motivates you? We are inspired by those things I told you. The pain we feel when our people are going through those things. And to some of us who have been privileged, who have been schooled by taxpayers' money, it's a kind of passion that we have to see the health well-being of our people improve. Yeah, that motivates us. So if there is something that you can do to lay a stone on this, you do it. You do it. Today we have not requested for money. No, don't. We have not requested for money or financial remuneration to buy data, to buy us drinks, to buy us what? No. We've not requested for that. But if you can share this message with someone, please do it. If you have an avenue where we can deliver this message, create it for your people. Because the knowledge is there, we have it. We've been privileged to go through the training. Especially for some of us who have been trained on taxpayers' money. Hey, I'm not afraid to say that. That's one of the ways we give back to the public. That's one of the ways I give back to the public. It's like a whole poor village collecting their small monies, small monies to finance the academic journey of just one boy, and then he attains what they sent him to attain, and now he comes back and he starts delivering services to the community. That's one of the ways I appreciate my people. Maybe that little percentage that was taken off the matchbox you bought was used to pay some of our school fees. Allow us pay back to the community. But even as we pay back to the community, participate in this. So for the whole of this month, at Health Touch Uganda, we are going to be addressing issues concerning diabetes mellitus, an illness associated with high blood sugar levels. I told you that last month we dealt with issues concerning hypertension or high blood pressure, an illness associated with high blood pressure that is also very dangerous, damages the eyes, damages the heart, damages the kidneys, damages the brain. It can cause stroke, it can cause death, it can cause sudden death. We call hypertension a silent killer. Someone goes to bed, okay, normal, everyone thinks they are okay, they say a prayer, they have supper with their family, say a prayer with their family, they go to bed, but by morning they've sustained a severe complication or they are dead. That's hypertension or high blood pressure for you. And if you missed out on that, I told you, go and check those videos out. They are there on our YouTube, even here on Facebook, on our Twitter, Instagram, our WhatsApp. We can even send them to you. That's how passionate we are. But for this month, it's going to be diabetes mellitus, an illness associated with high sugar levels. And if you have any form of question, ekibuuzo kyonna about diabetes mellitus, just forward it. We are going to find time and respond instantly for some of them, and for the rest we shall be compiling or collecting all of them and responding to them in a live session like this one. So if you have any form of question, forward that question through our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube. It's Health Touch Uganda everywhere. On Facebook, the page is called Health Touch Uganda. Instagram, it's Health Touch Uganda. Twitter, Health Touch Uganda. The WhatsApp groups, Health Touch Uganda. The YouTube channel, Health Touch Uganda. So that you can be taught. Some of these things are taught to the different people over a really long period of time. It takes years. But you have the privilege of having them broken down into simple terms that you can easily understand, to see that your knowledge improves. So I want to encourage us to heed, and let's not just stop at learning, but also practicing what we've learned. I want to appreciate you that have been with us for this live. I want to appreciate you who are going to watch it even after this time. I want to appreciate those who are ready to send this message all over. I want to appreciate you who are going to heed to the messages, those that are already eagerly waiting. I know there are those of you who are eagerly waiting for this information, and those of you that are ready to participate in this campaign. I want to appreciate you. This is Mwanguzi Shadrach, your doctor from Health Touch Uganda. I always say, you have one life to live. Oh yes, one life to live. Olina obulamu bwa mulundi gumu obw'okubeeramu, ate era obulamu bwa mulundi gumu obw'okuvaamu oba obw'okuleka emabega. That's why you're supposed to pay extra attention. Mwanguzi Shadrach, Health Touch Uganda. Follow the light. Peace.